Welcome to my madness. Okay, I didn't have. There you go. I gotta ran out of room. And. Ta-da! Now let the madness begin. So, as usual, I took my sketch, put it on my computer, blew it up, traced it, came over here. Took forever to trace it because this is a lot bigger than what I normally do. We might have noticed now, but I normally don't do any pieces this big, but I don't know, I kind of like it still. And I had actually done a rough sketch. Well, I wanted to put it all together just to kind of see how it would look. And so I just, on my computer paper, I did the sketch and I did all the words and stuff, and I did my rough shading and like a very rough coloring, and I don't know, I thought that turned out pretty cool, and I think I might like, in some ways I think I might like that sketch more than the final product, but that's up for debate. Maybe I'll remember to post it on my Discord later. But yeah, so I mean the process was all the same, and this was, you know, I could have grabbed some sketch pencils and that would have made this so much easier, but I did the original in just my mechanical pencil. And sometimes when I do sketches or I'm just playing around, I'll just use my mechanical pencil and do some shading like that. And I always think it turns out really cool. The big issue, I guess, is that the mechanical pencil, even for as dark as you can get it, is probably never going to be as dark as what you can get from a sketch pencil. That, and with it being such a fine, like, rough tip, I feel like, even though it doesn't look like I've damaged the paper, I do feel like it probably damaged the paper. And, like, I could only do so much with so much pressure on it. And, I mean, it's still got, I guess it could have been darker in some of the values, but I still think it's fine for what it is. I also had the original version of this, and I was kind of using it as a guide so that I didn't have to, try and figure out where I had all my values, because I wanted to keep the idea of that one as close to this sketch as I could. And I actually really, really like essentially the black and white with the pinks. And the frame I did around Cheyenne, I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do with that yet. And maybe it would have looked better had I kept it in maybe like the black. But I did that in pink, but you'll see that later in the video. This ended up being a very long video, but it was kind of a long process, partially because of how big it is and how I'm not used to doing things this size. But I think we've covered that, and I'm just repeating myself now. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. There's not really much more to say to this. The inspiration came from me watching this anime called Yuri on Ice, and I think I mentioned this at least once or twice before in a video. I don't remember now. But Yuri Pilsevsky, and I'm sure I slaughtered the pronunciation of that last name. My bad. I don't do well with foreign words, to be honest. I barely do American, okay? But anyway, so best character ever in that show. Like, I hope if the show ever gets to season 2, they switch to him being the main character, because I feel like you would get so much more. I mean, I feel like he's gotten so much more character development, and most of it you've seen off screen. Like the in-between stuff you've seen off screen. You would see him go from like this. The way it starts off is he comes off as being like this really angry, probably bratty kid, and you see how he develops throughout the show, but he's featured at least briefly in almost every episode. So it's clear that they liked this character and they cared about him and he's important and all that, and not just because him and the main character have the same name. But I don't know. I hope if the show gets to season 2 that they put focus on my Russian Yuri and not the Japanese Yuri, which I know that's not going to happen, but it would be cool and probably make the show better for me. But I don't know. I just feel like the main character is very blah. He feels very Gary Stewish, and as much as I would want to like him, and I don't necessarily hate him, I just find him boring. But anyway, I'm way off topic. So watch the show Yuri on Ice. There's essentially a bonus episode, but you can only get it on the Blu-ray DVD set, I guess, and I sadly do not have a Blu-ray player, and also sadly, I kind of didn't think about that until after I bought it, so I need to find me someone with a Blu-ray player so I can watch the episode that the inspiration for this came from. But you can still find the routine on YouTube, easy enough. If you just type in Welcome to the Madness Yuri on Ice, you can find the routine that this was inspired from, because I love the idea, and I love how even in the fan art he's given a lot of personality in the art, and that's something that I'm wanting to draw some inspiration from. And so I also wanted to do kind of my own version of Welcome to the Madness, because dang, that is a pretty cool animation. Like, they went all out. And so and Shane was like probably one of the perfect characters to do something like this, if not the perfect character of mine to do this for. So yeah, now he's welcoming you to his madness. Because, yeah, I could see him doing more punkish stuff, I guess. With the armbands, I wanted to make those like a metallic pink. I just don't know if I got them to stick out well enough for that. I should probably have looked up how to do a better job of metals. But the one thing I know with metal is that the values can be more sharper in contrast, as opposed to skin, where the skin isn't going to have a lot of value unless there's a sharp contrast in lighting, where metal, it's a lot easier to get lights and darks because of how reflective it is. Yay! And in the outfit that Yuri wears in Welcome to the Madness, there's a lot of shiny bits to it. So I did kind of want to incorporate some dramatic lighting, even though this didn't end up very dramatic. I always want to do dramatic lighting, and it never works out that way for me. It's not like I've never tried it before, but I realized that I was doing it wrong, and I was doing too much this or too little of that, and so now I've kind of rebalanced it in the other way, to where even though I'm trying to be a dramatic lighting, I'm still feeling like there's not enough contrast and everything's too light yet, but that's a whole nother story there. Anyway, back to Yuri's outfit. Very shiny. Wanted to add shiny. Also, it's Cheyenne, so I was going to add shiny anyway, but, now I have a second excuse to add shiny to this boy. Okay? So, yes. I don't even know why I did, like, the little drippy thing in the background. That just kind of came to me randomly as I was trying to work out more ideas to get this all together. And I don't know, I thought about throwing this on a sweatshirt and having my art be wearable, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do that with this one or not yet. I'm still trying to work on liking the thing that I was working on for a custom diamond kit. And I'm not sure I like it, and I had almost 100 hours of distracted work in that thing, but we're getting sidetracked again. And back to this, I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do with that up, the welcome part up there, but I did kind of want to make it look like a sign. And one of my friends, Empress, said that a dark gray would look pretty epic. So I did actually spend a few minutes trying to decide if I wanted a number 6 dark gray, cool dark gray, by the way. Not that that was important, or a number 8 dark gray, because I think I was trying my number 7s, and I tried a cool 7 and a neutral 7, and they were both dried out. Okay, I guess 7 is not the lucky number today. And then I moved on to figuring out 6 or 8. I went with 8, just because, when it first laid down, I thought it was maybe a little too dark, but it kind of dried a little later. That's kind of what convinced me. That was a whole lot of unnecessary information we needed, but there you go. And, if anyone, has watched the show, that's cool. Let me know down below. Even if you haven't, let me know if you think I've hit the mark or I've kind of missed the idea completely and it's just not coming through, because this one was a bit of a struggle to put together, and I think it's different from what I normally do, and I do like it for that. And for as you can see down here, I'm trying to define some highlights a little better, and I'm using metallic white paint to do so, because I've already gone mixed media for this. Let's just go all out. So, I don't know. I think it did help pop, even though I feel like some of it got a little mudged in there, but it's fine. It still pops more than a colored pencil, because you can only do so much with a colored pencil before it's just not going to add. And you never really can add a bright white pencil over pencil anyway, but, we know this already. This is basic. Okay. And, of course, had to add my little shiny stickers, and quite frankly, I think adding those silver ones up top really, really helped. I think it pops just enough, but I also think it breaks up the pink in the colors. And I thought about I wanted to do the other side of the frame with the black as well, but I'm kind of running low on the black, and I might need to use it for something else. But anyway, let me know what you think down below or in my Discord, which will be in my description. What would you have done different, or do you like it as is? I'm open to everything. Until next time, bye-bye!